You are now watching Believe. Do you believe?
What's going on, Bills Mafia? Welcome to another episode of ISO Block with the legend himself, Ruben Brown. How you feeling today, Rube?
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm getting pumped. We got a game tonight, so that'll tide me over into the big showdown this weekend.
Absolutely. We got some Thursday night football coming on tonight. Not a great game, but it's football, so you can't.
Yeah, like Justice, like I told you before, I'm like I could talk football all day. It's a football thing. Don't matter who on, just play some football.
Absolutely. I agree. All right. So today we're going to get into, obviously, the big game coming up with following what some people say may be one of the greatest games of all time. First of all, let me get your take on that. When you think about the AFC Championship game, of course it sucks that the Bills ended up losing, but where does that rank for you among the games you've seen in your life?
Oh man, it's probably one of the most exciting games ever played. I mean, I've seen a lot of them. I was in school when I watched the Bills come back. I actually watched the Bills come back because I was in school, won't nothing else to do but watch football. But and several other games that I don't recall right now. But this last game, the rules were changed after this game, and everybody is still talking about this game. This is an epic battle. Two amazing teams, organizations, really like organizations that are like very similar to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about you get your amazing head coach and you have an amazing GM, you have an amazing offensive coordinator. The Bills probably have by far the better defensive coordinator, but the Chiefs, have done what they need to do on defense. You get your freak of nature, one of one superstar quarterback, and they happen to have maybe two of the best quarterbacks of all time playing at the same time, and we get to witness another episode of this chapter coming this Sunday when the Buffalo Bills go to Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. So on our last episode, Ruben kind of he made a proclamation that I think maybe wasn't really, some people didn't like. Let's put it that way. but there was merit to it. So we want to dive deeper into that and elaborate upon a blowout, right? The Buffalo Bills will blow out the Kansas City Chiefs, it won't necessarily be as close as people think it will be. Elaborate on that a little bit, because I agree with you, but elaborate on it a little bit.
Well, where I was going on that definitely is this. I don't think this game, one way or another, was going to be closer than you think. And I think the Bills are the superior team in there, and there's several ways that they can win and just win the game, But where I think that they can totally dominate this game differently than Kansas City, and I don't think it's going to be as much back and forth as before. I'm going to throw one little issue out there first. You said the defense-wise, better coach defense over on the Buffalo Bills side, way better impact players over there, whether our DBs are healthy or not, and so forth. But we got Von Miller. And Von Miller knows how to beat Kansas City. You know what I mean? So here's a huge, we literally went to get Von Miller so he would come and help us get over the hump, which all of Buffalo believes the Kansas City Chiefs are the hump that we need
not to cut you off, but at the end of last season, Sean McDermott, or not in the off season, they were asking Sean McDermott, they said, how do you plan to get over that hump? And he says, we got to get 15 on the ground. Now, typically in the off season, you're thinking about the Dolphins, the Patriots, the Jets. They're thinking about number 15. Over there in the AFC West. So that's how real this rivalry is. So, you mentioned they get Von Miller because they got to get 15 on the ground. And, looking at what the defensive line has done so far this season, Gregory Rousseau, Jordan Phillips, and, Von Miller and all those guys, how do you think they'll fare against the Kansas City offensive line?
I think they're going to have an intelligent attack at going after Mahomes because they know what he can do and the things that he'll be able to come to. Now, they've already played Lamar Jackson. It's probably more deadly running the ball and getting around and being elusive than Mahomes is. Mahomes going to find a place to throw. And so they had warm-up tests to prepare for a Mahomes because, they've already played Jackson. Then here's a factor, guys, that always helped me when no matter who I played in the NFL. It's the people you practice against on a regular basis. Iron sharpens iron. All right. So who is Vaughn, Rousseau, the defense generally working against every day before they prepare for a game? They're working against the best, probably the best quarterback in the NFL that can do what Lamar does and can do what Mahomes does to a degree. Really, I mean, he's bigger than Mahomes. He can run over guys. He can jump over guys.
Run past guys.
He can run past you. He can do he's the whole package. He's I think he just is much more physical presence than he's like big, like Steve McNair big.
Yeah, that's
he's
a good
like that big.
yeah.
And so that's advantage Buffalo because here you have Von Miller helping these defensive players over on the Bills learn how to close out games and win games, and they're practicing against the most formidable quarterback in the NFL. So you can't do anything, but the talent is going to have to be really high for that to really fluster them. They I think they have the momentum and they're prepared for Mahomes this go around. Whereas before, it wasn't enough rush and enough pressure with a 4-man front to disrupt any quarterback, let alone Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we saw that was our problem all year last year. All right, now we actually have a 4-man front that we can get after and disrupt with, a la Von Miller and the rest of the game. So here we go, picking up the final piece that the Buffalo Bills need, like I said, to get over that hump of beating Kansas City, and not only beat them in their place in the early part of the season. So the tables are turned. No longer do we have to go to Kansas City to get a win to go to the Super Bowl. Now it's a whole nother game playing. It's different playing in Buffalo, going for a Super Bowl. So the secret sauce in me saying that there was a blowout or possibility of a blowout is just because the defense, number one, is better. Von Miller definitely is that factor that adds to our unit and that can put pressure on Mahomes. It ain't that he's going to have to get him sacked all the time. It's just put the pressure on him, make it difficult for him. Maybe he can throw an interception running around. He can turn the ball over. And we know it's deadly for an offense to turn the ball over against the Buffalo Bills. It's deadly. I mean, Kansas City is probably one of the few teams that can make a mistake, turnover, recover, get out of it, and probably fight you to win the game. As you saw with the Steelers, the Bills ain't to be played with. You drop that ball, turn it over, they're going to smoke you. I mean, and that's where I see this whole blowout scenario formulated. Defensive pressure over in Mahomes' face, causing at least one or two miscues, batted ball, something like that. Ball goes to the over to the Bills, just that one turnover, the Bills been scoring like 2-3 touchdowns every quarter. I mean, that's a dangerous recipe. I mean, I didn't even get into discussing how much more of an advantage Josh is as a quarterback and than Mahomes is. You know, that's a whole
I
nother
mean,
discussion.
I mean, he has another factor to his game that no other quarterback really in the NFL has. I mean, I get it. Lamar Jackson is the best running quarterback in the NFL, bar none. I think that's just the fact, right? But when you look at Josh Allen, it's not more so that he's a better running quarterback than anybody else, because there are other quarterbacks who can run better than Josh.
Yeah, yeah.
He's the most efficient runner. You know, when he gets yards, you know, what I mean, he takes a few hits, but he's big and he can dish it just as well as he can take it. You know, so he's just different than anybody we've ever seen before.
Yeah, I complain about one of his greatest assets. And his greatest asset is a big dude that can pull the ball down and run with it and get yards. And he's shown consistently he's been able to do that even in tough situations when it's needed yardage. He can, he'll get you the yardage.
He could do it being agile just as much as he can do it being, exactly. Yeah.
So, but I always say, look, man, let's not let him have to do all the heavy lifting, because I don't want him to have to stretch his arm out to get a first down one time and that arm gets banged up and now he can't make that throw to Diggs. You know what I mean? So these are the things I say in the running game to help protect him. But since we're on the Josh topic and the Bills offense and what would separate them or put them in that category of being able to really outscore the Kansas Chiefs by a large margin, is look at the weapons that Josh is throwing to. I mean, these kids get yak, they get touchdowns, and Patrick's struggling. I mean, he's practically got to do spilling, he's doing pirouettes and spinning around and tricking, got magic cards in his back pocket in order to get, touchdowns orchestrated with this team. They have the complement of the number of receiving weapons that the Buffalo has. They have 2 or 3. Definitely Kelsey can freak you, but he's a tight end. He get limited to a certain degree, where you can get him. Now, we got Diggs and the rest of the gang. Them guys are moving all over the field. I think we're getting our tight end back. Knox is coming back this week, maybe. Well, I got to look at the.
He did practice. I think he did practice.
Yeah. So things like that. And listen, both of these quarterbacks have shown that they're going to hit multiple receivers. All right. And they don't have to just have that one guy that they're going to hit all the time. Now, they're going to have that security blanket guy, a la Josh has Diggs and Mahomes has Kelsey. But where it separates is Juju still getting himself together over there in Kansas City. Maybe he emerges as more of a factor than what we've seen up to date. But what we've seen up to date, our guys got a little bit more oomph or even take it to the house in them than the Kansas City guys, No,
that's absolutely a fact. However, to your point, the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes has 2 touchdowns to wide receivers so far this year. Mm-hmm. Now, he's top 3 in the NFL in passing touchdowns as of right now, and he only has 2 touchdowns thrown to wide receivers. Mm-hmm. However, Travis Kelce is 7. So, I mean, it's easier said than done, but how do they stop Travis Kelce?
I would say keep him out of the red zone. You know, honestly, if they can find a way to keep them in long yardage and backed up, it's maybe a little bit more. They're more effective ways of covering and making sure that Mahomes doesn't get to Kelsey. But when you congest the playing field, now that's a little advantage to Kelsey. You know, he can make a little turnaround and stay close to the line and dip in and out in between that safety and linebacker spot, or even hide out close to the line and linebacker area, get the ball and get 2, 3, 4, 5 yards and score a touchdown. All right. So if we keep him backed up, now he caught 7 balls. There ain't no touchdown. See, last week, all that happened in the red zone. You keep him out of the red zone, he caught 7 balls. There ain't no 4 touchdowns. Yeah. You know what I mean? It'd be 7 yards for 27 catches for 29 yards, what it was. You know, honestly. So that's the formula, if anything. You know, to tell you, I just see all of these things that we talking about. Just keep saying, man, Bill's going to put it on them more than what is being predicted. The stars are aligning that way. Now, this is the thing, what I'm saying about this. So people don't think I'm just overly Buffalo Bill biased. And I'm just going on factors that I see that build momentum for something like this to happen. And number one, the biggest one, Kansas City played just recently, a couple of days ago. That's a huge deal. Yeah, they play at home, all in good, but still, they just recently played the game. It's going to take a minute for these guys to recover. The Bills been recovering since the second half of the Steelers game. You know, they've been on cruise control. That motor is humming. So, and the Kansas City had to put out a different type of effort to win their game, other than the effort that the Bills had to put out for their game. So the momentum, the energy, the recovery, the rest, the time for preparation, all in the Buffalo Bills' favor.
It absolutely is. And I think that's why me personally, that's why I'm really comfortable with the game, more comfortable than I typically would be. Because I think it's the same situation as it was in the regular season of last year. Mm-hmm. We had the better team, we had the better quarterback, and we went out there and we proved it, and we beat them. Now, in the playoffs, Tyreek Hill had something to say. Yeah, you know, he went off in the second half. He had a kick return. I think he had a punt return. He had 2 basically by himself touchdowns. I mean, Patrick Mahomes made a damn good throw. Don't take anything away from it. However, the last 60 yards was Tyreek Hill. You know what I mean? Yeah. He brought it in the second half of that AFC Championship game, and it was really him. And he also had one of the catches, you know, in the 13 seconds, you know, that helped them get into field goal range. Yeah. So I just think that without Tyreek Hill, they are no longer a juggernaut. I think they're still a really good team. You're right. But I think that they're not like the up. I mean, they're in the upper echelon, but they're not the upper echelon of the league anymore. Yeah. And I think that's the Buffalo Bills.
You know, we have a lot of confidence in what we've seen from the Buffalo Bills up to now. And, you know, see them talking big things about, hey, they can blow this team out. But, you know, as you know, this is the NFL, and anyone can beat anyone. I mean, don't think because it's the Detroit Lions and they ain't beat nobody, they couldn't possibly come out and beat the Bills if the Bills.
The Colts beat the Chiefs a few weeks ago.
Yeah. There you go. The Chiefs just lost to Indianapolis, and Indianapolis could not beat the Colts could not beat Kansas City 10 more times in the season. It just went. That one was their one, and the rest of them would be mowed down. Kansas City just wiped them off the field.
Absolutely,
hands down. So, you know, anyone can beat anyone, and you know when these when these superstar teams meet, these are epic battles. These are the battles that we talk about. This is Elway versus Montana. This is Marino versus Sam's back in the day type stuff.
So, Rube, tell us from the perspective of a legendary football player, you were playing back in the days of Elway and things like that. What was it like facing, I don't know, Jake Plummer versus facing John Elway?
I think it was a lot like today. You knew that star quarterback was going to bring the big part of the success of the team. You knew, all right, for example, we would play Drew Bledsoe. You had to do something. That dude's big cannon was going to be dropping bombs at Ben Coates all day and throwing to Curtis Martin. How you going to stop him? You know what I mean? Glenn and the crew. And then, I could name several other teams that we played against Troy Aikman and the Dallas Cowboys in their later careers. Been on the field with a lot of them. Marino was still on the field. And what the difference was, you knew these guys came with, even if on their bad day, you still going to have to be really good. You know what I mean? You can't be fumbling the ball and dropping things because they're going to run away with it. And if you see them slip and fall, you better take. That's your only chance to take over, because, over the years, Peyton Manning was a quarterback. How many times did he turn the ball over?
Not very many for Peyton
Not
Manning.
many. And when he did, a good chance he might have lost, but he also turned it over and won.
Yeah, he made up for it. I know he won a game where he threw 4 INTs one time.
Yeah. So that's the difference between, let me name a guy. What was the guy that we had that came, just was 1 year? Billy Joe Hobart. He came to Buffalo for one game, and he didn't even study. And the general manager fired him after the big loss.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was like, get out of here.
Yeah.
He fired the guy. I said, wait a minute, where's Billy Joe? They was like, man, they let Billy Joe. I said, we didn't even get to, turn our books in from the past game. They was like, man, they got him on the airplane.
Wow.
It's a huge difference in the level of top tier quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Top tier. And right now, my mind, it slips my mind all the different ones that we played. But I do remember played against John Elway, and that was a big battle. I think it was my first NFL game. We went to Denver, and Michael Dean Perry was lined up over top of me, and I think we lost that game. Yeah, I think we lost that game. But it was a battle because I had Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No matter if the mistakes, all right, things happen on our side. And we were, it was the first part I can remember that game because it was the first part of the very first game of the season. And the offense was still trying to, you trying to figure out how everything going to go. And I'm the newest guy in the group, and they got to get me caught up. We didn't win that game, but it was a battle between two great quarterbacks, Jim Kelly and John Elway. Come on. Bo Jack is going at it out there. And this is what we're going to have this week. I mean, it's exciting. This is what we live for when it comes to football.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's cool to hear you go down memory lane a little bit. That's awesome. Elway versus Kelly. It's cool to think about. Real quick, Rube, someone in the comment section, my guy Spin. He's a very huge supporter of the brand and everything. We do shout out to Spin, right? He says that the Chiefs can't score fast anymore. They will need to methodically drive down the field to score. And I agree with him wholeheartedly. However, that's what the Buffalo Bills do. They're a bend, don't break team, right? Yeah. You can get your yards as long as you're getting them 3 and 4 yards at a time. You're not going over our heads,
Yeah.
and you're not getting any big plays, especially not now with this fortified defensive line. They are not allowing running backs to just walk all over them anymore, right? So the thing about facing the Bills defense is often once you get into the red zone, it's tough to score at that point, right?
Right.
Because they buckle down and they
Right.
really don't allow you to score touchdowns.
Right.
And this offense is set up to score quickly, score
Right.
lots of points.
Yeah.
I just like, because you're talking about a blowout, and I
Yeah.
agree with you, but you can't trade 3 points for 7 points if you're Kansas City in this game.
Right.
With that being said, what kind of blowout are we talking about? Are we talking about like the Bills dominate the game and end up winning by 2 touchdowns? Or are we talking about like Kansas City, I'm sorry, a Tennessee or a Pittsburgh or LA type blowout?
I'm glad you did. Justice, you good, man. You good. I'm glad you did this. Yeah, I mean blowout in the sense that the Bills are going to be in control of this game from beginning to end. This isn't going to need overtime. I can't see this needing overtime for some of the issues that you brought up. How methodical Kansas City is going to have to be against the Buffalo Bills in order to score points. And that plays into the Bills defensively. Styles make fights. You know what I mean? And, it'd be different if the Bills defense was playing the Bills offense where, they could be backed up on the 99 and Josh just drop back and throw 99.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Where Kansas City now 99, they're going to have to drive 99.
Yeah.
So that falls into the Buffalo Bills wheelhouse defensively. Bend but don't break. Okay, take your time. We built for this. You know what I mean? We built for you to try to dink and dunk and get it. Yeah, I'm gonna let you get there, but you ain't gonna get to the red zone, and you ain't gonna be living in the red zone. Like, we ain't gonna give you the ball in the red zone. You're gonna have to go a long way to get there.
Yeah,
because
you have to flip the field.
Yeah, and as soon as we get the ball back over, if you don't get in the end zone, we give it back to them hungry boys over there on the other side, and they're gonna be in the end zone before you know it. So that's where I see it going. Now, does that mean blowout numerically, like 34-3, like what we just saw? No, 36-3 that we just saw with the Steelers. No, the Kansas City, I think, is a little bit more. Well, not think, they are way more competitive, skill-wise, talent-wise than the Steelers. I feel bad for the Steelers.
I think they're gonna be okay. I do.
They're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine.
Okay.
They ain't got nothing to worry about. They'll get over this. I mean, shoot, to be run over by the best, be like, God, thank you for coming my way.
The defending champs just got ran over. The defending AFC 1 seed just got ran over.
Yeah,
they have it. It's the Bills.
But I do, I'm talking blowout as far as control and just it ain't gonna be.
You will know who's the better team on the field by the end of Sunday. So what you're saying is you will know who's the better football team in the AFC by the end of Sunday. Clearly. All right, I like it.
Yeah, that's the blowout. Clearly, you're going to walk away, and Buffalo Bills fans going to end up booking all of Arizona. They're going to book all of Arizona because look at this. This is the game to get the game to Buffalo, right? This the game right here. This couldn't happen any better for the Buffalo Bills to actually go to Kansas City and take the game and bring it back to Buffalo and say, all right, we're going to do this again, but we do it at my house this time. My rules, we're going to bring a little snow with us. And it's on to the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. We will see what happens in this game Sunday. I'm super duper excited, and we'll see what the rest of the season looks like as well. But we'll be here to cover it with you guys all year. And look, guys, you just heard from a legend himself what he thought, about this Bills versus Chiefs game, and that's why you listen to us over here, with ISO Blocker Ruben Brown, because you want to hear thoughts from Hall of Famers, right? But Rube, you got any other thoughts before we get up out of here?
That's it. I can save it. We'll build up some energy because we all pumped up for the game.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking all daggone night. So
yeah.
We'll save some for later for everybody. Let them digest this first.
And also we'll more than likely before the week is over have another episode of Believe in Bills, and we'll be able to get even more thoughts out.
There you go. We'll keep it coming.
All right, guys. We want to thank you guys all for tuning in. As always, you guys know we appreciate all the love and support you give. This has been ISO Block with Ruben Brown. That is the legendary Ruben Brown. I'm Justice General Radford, and we are out. Go Bills.